Afternoon, everyone. I've been on here a couple of times now. My name is Elise. I'm from the Skills and Jobs Centre, which is part of TAFE Gippsland. And this afternoon we have a guest speaker with us who is also a team member of TAFE Gippsland, and her name is Claire. So I will let her introduce herself to you.
Thanks, Elise. As Elise mentioned, my name's Claire McGrath, and I'm a student support advisor at TAFE Gippsland. So my job is advocacy for the students, and we also help them with study skills and just about anything, any questions any students have, any problems they're having, they can come to us and we will find answers for them. So, yep, so that's basically my job, is I work for students.
Very good. Fantastic. Thank you, Claire. It's good to know that those services are available for anyone who has plans to go to TAFE or do other studies down the track. So this afternoon, our topic that we're going to chat to you about briefly and that Claire's knowledgeable in and going to share some insights is how to deal with homework overload and how you prioritise your time and your homework with all the other things that we have going on in life, and maybe who to talk to when you might be struggling with your studies. So I'm sure everyone can remember a time when they maybe felt a little bit under the pump or overloaded, or like they've got a little bit too much going on, and it's really important to know how to deal with that. So we've got Claire with us today, and I'm going to ask Claire a few questions. So Claire, our first question is, how would you describe homework overload?
Okay.
What does that mean?
Yep, no worries. And look, if I look off to the left, it's because I've written down some notes, because I've got some really important, tips that I don't want to miss any, because I gathered a lot of these tips. I'm not just an expert. I think I bring something else, and Elise has alluded to the same, not only as it's my job to know these things, but also because I'm a student as well. So I have to juggle personal life, work and study. So some of the tips are actually ones I use myself. So I think that kind of probably, I think, some more valid expert and more real advice than just, theory that I've learnt for my job. So probably what I would say is, as we all know, kind of a certain amount of stress around homework is important, because it kind of keeps us energized, keeps us focused, keeps our priorities right. When the stress can become a bad thing is, you'll know it, you feel it, you can feel it emotionally. And I think the thing is, it's such a black and white thing, homework. We're often given pieces of paper and there's all just words and it's all very structured, but there's a lot of emotion around it. We have expectations on ourselves. We feel the expectations of our teachers, our parents, our family to do well. So I think quite often we push the emotional to the side. So you can feel the overload. As soon as you feel it, it's valid. So as soon as you think, I'm not just stressed because I have a lot to do and I need to prioritise, but you start to feel, sort of that negative impact. And that could be, you feel more emotional, like more teary than usual, headaches, stomach problems, lack of appetite, poor sleep, just anything negative that impacts you, and you'll know it. You probably feel it a lot, and it can be around homework. So they're very valid things that are not to be ignored, and you should address them sooner than later. I'll just have a look at I've sort of got some statistics. They kind of did a few studies at Stanford University and found that 56% of students considered homework their primary source of stress. So out of all their school experience, it was the homework that, really, stood out to them. So, and as I sort of touched on, it can become very overwhelming, and it's not just the mental thing. You need to think of the physical and, just the repercussions it has on the rest of your life. Yeah, so it's an important thing to get a handle on, for sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of us can understand what you're talking about. I know I can definitely remember times where I've felt that way, and not too long ago. So definitely some really good things that we're covering here, particularly if more than half of our population or from those studies, half of us possibly feel overloaded or under pressure with our homework. So Claire, what should someone do if they're beginning to feel overloaded and beginning to feel those emotions and stresses?
Well, I have my first point, which I've underlined strongly, is first and foremost, don't ignore it. Don't ignore those feelings. Don't just go, oh, it's just part and parcel of, you know, what it is to be a student and just comes with the territory. Well, yeah, it does, but the sooner you address it, stops the smallest thing becoming a big thing. Quite often you can get stressed when you don't have a clear understanding of what the expectation of the task is. And then I myself can feel like, oh, I've asked a couple of times, and, you know, and the basic thing is to stop and reflect. Reflect, why am I feeling this way? Is it because I don't understand what's expected of me? Is it that I don't understand the question? And quite often you find, you know, the obvious answer is ask your teacher again to explain it to you another way. And quite often you can think, oh, well, I've asked a couple of times. Now I'm feeling a little stressed that I don't want to ask again. But quite often, any question that you are brave enough to ask of the teacher, you will probably look around and most of the class will also be nodding and going, oh, thank God somebody asked that question. So I sort of see it as a bit like I work for students. Well, teachers work for students as well. So I don't think that you can ever have too small a question or ask too many times. So the main thing is get a handle on what's stressing you. You know, take time away to reflect on what it is that's stressing you. Is it the amount? Is it the lack of understanding? Is it the lack of time? I don't know. During this, especially at the moment where we're all very online with everything, it just increased the intensity, and you find that you're quite often sitting in front of a laptop or something longer than you would have usually. There's no distractions. You don't have people coming and, you know, sharing, you know, giving you some distractions from the intensity of it. So I think it's especially important to just stop and reflect and go, what am I feeling and why am I feeling it? And kind of just getting on top of that. And yeah, and be really mindful to take, even if you know, take time out of your day to set an alarm on your phone that reminds you to get up and walk away from your study. I think it's important. So, because the question was, forgive me, it is late in the day. If you're beginning to feel overloaded, well, definitely reach out to teachers, other students, because sometimes I'm a big advocate for group therapy. Chances are, if you're feeling stressed about, you know, some particular aspect of homework, you'll find other students that go, oh, me too. And just being able to share that, you know, those feelings with somebody else, it can not only help to unload, but it can also help get you the answers. Someone else might go, yeah, I struggled with that and this is how I approached it. So what, you know, but if it's left to fester, then, you know, that problem sort of, you know, another one comes on top of it, and then, you know, it all ends up too much. So that's what I would stress more than anything, is don't think you're alone in the way you feel, or that it just comes with the territory. Yeah, that would be my main advice.
And so you've touched on this a little bit already, but is there anything else people should do to prevent these situations from happening?
Be organised. So what I do is, I'm a pretty visual person, so I kind of don't put just in a notebook when things are due, what I need to get done, how I need to do it. I put it up on which is actually above me, a really big piece of paper with everything that, you know, all the days of the month, when things are due, other things I've got going on in my life that I need to factor into that. Kind of, you know, the time, get your time management under control, like kind of go, okay, how long is it going to take me to do that? Because just the mere fact of kind of getting some control back over what you can do in the situation has a great is a great stress relief. So just lay it out there, put something up on the wall that just kind of tells you where and when and how. If you're doing online study, when classes are, you know, just a real visual cue that you don't kind of get lost in, you know, dates and, you know, every little task that's there for you. So, and then there's the obvious ones is, what have I written down here? Again, do I understand what's asked of me? Have I had enough time away from school work to do other pleasurable things? Do I need sleep? Is it because I've been doing this for too long and I haven't got enough sleep? Have I eaten recently? Have I drunk enough water today? You know, it's those simple things you think, oh, well, you know, that just goes without saying. But as I said, when it becomes really intense, this sitting in front of laptops, you know, just sometimes you need to just get up and, you know, run around the room, put on some loud music, just, you know, just let it out, get crazy and just let it go a little bit. So yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, just get a bit of control back over and also let go of the control a little bit as well. So I think that would be my main advice. Yeah, for sure.
Very good, very good. Thank you. And one final question: if a person has not been able to prevent the homework overload and possibly has missed those cues and is feeling really overwhelmed by their homework and the pressure that they're under, what should they do? What steps can they take? Is there someone that they can contact? What would be your advice there?
Absolutely. Look, and to touch on that too, you know, when we've got our school and homework and all that, it's all very well to plan, but of course then life comes calling as well, and we have other things that crop up that kind of add to our stress. So if it's just about the homework, as I mentioned, reach out to your teacher, reach out to other students, download with family and friends, just find as many people as possible who, you know, either understand or sympathise with what you're going through, and you know, utilise those resources. But I think if there's also other things in your life that are impacting on your study, and that's kind of what my job is at TAFE as well, is that anything that impacts on students, I'm there for. So, and that can be anything. It can be financial, all those things that, you know, because we're all, you know, when we're students, you know, quite often we're poor and you need to work as well and things like that. So there is other people you can reach out to. Most schools, wherever you're studying, will have a support staff like myself in some capacity. So reach out to your teacher and just ask who are the support people, or, you know, ask the reception or other students if the school themselves have a support staff. And then when in doubt, there is also Headspace, there's Lifeline, there's Kids Helpline, Orange Door, all these services that are just kind of like a phone call that you can touch on, people you can talk through things with that can, you know, give you some real advice, all very discreet and very, so if you're not comfortable, you know, sort of bringing your school life into your problems, yeah, I would touch on people like Lifeline, who are fantastic listeners, and which is what I think students under stress probably need more than anything. So don't ever think that, oh, I don't have a huge problem and that's all these services are for. They're for people with real problems, because yeah, if it's impacting you, that is a real problem. Yeah.
Very good. Danica and Taylor, just want to check and see if we've got any questions from either yourselves or anyone that's watching before we finish up with Claire.
At the moment, there's no comments, no, but I just wanted to point out that, like, when I haven't been out of school for that long, but like when I was in high school, if I was ever going through that kind of stuff, not a lot of teachers actually focused on like the self-care stuff that you've really emphasized there.
Yeah,
like they'd always mention it, but they'd kind of brush over it and just be like revision, you know, practice, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the big but that comes after everything, isn't it? Like, yes, we know you're stressed and everything, but here's another big pile of stuff on top of that.
Yeah.
Now. go away. And yeah, yep, I hear you. So so and like I said, look, most schools do have support staff. I mean, maybe TAFE is a little bit more, you know, kind of complicated and a bit more extensive, but everything from primary schools, high schools, all usually have some support staff. So do like, and if you're not comfortable, not everybody's comfortable or has a great relationship with their teachers, and that's just a fact as well. Is just ask the people at the reception, call the number of the school, talk to the admin people and just say, can I have the name of the person who's our support person, and maybe reach out that way. So you can always done discreetly, because I can personally say I probably wouldn't be a great one for sort of putting my hand up and saying I need help. But yeah, within most schools, there'll be a support person. So yeah, touch base with them, be my advice.
Well, that's fantastic advice, and like you mentioned at the very beginning, I just want to, I guess, reiterate that most of us, more than half of us, go through these stresses or feel this pressure at some point in our lives. So it is really important to take this advice on board and ask someone for help, or confide in someone else and talk to them about how you're feeling. So thank you so much, Claire, for sharing. And we'll see you again. We've got another opportunity to talk to you in a couple of weeks about another topic. So that'll be really good. And thank you, Danica and Taylor, for having us today.
No worries.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.